welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at gods5minutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. The 76th Psalm is a glorious declaration of God's majesty in the nation of Israel and thus in His church. It is rich with descriptions of divine intervention in military matters and all the peaceful pursuits so necessary to the economic prosperity of any people. Near its conclusion, in the 11th verse, it has this: Vow and pay unto the Lord your God. Let all that be round about him bring presents to him that ought to be feared. Not long ago, one of the children in our congregation visited with me a moment. Then it was time for him to go, looked up at me with eyes filled with trust and deepest expression, said, "You're my best friend forever." My heart melted. It's just that way. It is most natural for all of God's children to find their private place of prayer, look through the eyes of faith into His face, and tell Him the same, along with many redeemed. Those who scoff at our holy religion and try to take it from us by scientific reasonings and criticisms of mistakes and failures miss the point entirely. There is a secret place of pure bliss that is more addictive than any earthly drug, though everywhere attainable and forever free. That joy is only increased when we who have tasted it in our private devotions come together with like-minded spirits and join our hearts in public communion with our Maker. Friend, vow to know the Lord. But the admonition is not just to vow. To stop there is ruin. Immediately following the command to vow is the backup to the gladful urgency to do so. Let us pay our vows. It is better not to vow than to vow and not pay. But why should we fail either of those? We need not fear to vow if we are prompt to pay. None of us have a happier place in this world than when we have committed something special to the Lord. For instance, Father, today I dedicate this beautiful Lord's Day morning to you, in which my health is good, my family well. I have enough of food and clothing to go to worship service and hear you from your word, to receive what you send and seek your grace to live by it. Then to come home from that service having received a blessing and likewise been one. As one poet put it, with God's approval on my soul, my body sinks to rest. No care nor wave of trouble rolls across my peaceful breast. And through the night that hand so mild protects from storms and billows wild His helpless, loving, trusting child, without spot and blameless. The words were written in a manner suitable for a person to use in encouraging his friend, or for a leader to use to his congregation, or for that congregation to use in song and testimony to encourage one another. Vow and pay unto the Lord your God. It is as if David would say to his son Solomon, I have been a boy in the field, a warrior before Goliath, pursued and hated by Saul. I have been ill, weary, slept in caves in the cities of my enemies. Likewise I have been king, had mighty men at my command, seen the blood of my enemies running down the bright spears of my troops, and in all God has been with me. Always I have vowed, I have survived, because always I have paid. Do the same, my son. When God visits you, vow to Him and never let anything keep you from fulfilling your word. You will find at your best effort, yet God is more faithful than you are. Make Him your God. But then all these things are only a variation of what we Christians tell each other in our worship services every time we meet. The verses next encourage not only those who are part of Israel's heritage and worship to bring presents to Him who deserves reverence, but even the kings of neighboring kingdoms, whether friends or enemies, to join in giving presents to God. But what present actually can a person bring to Him that is not something He did not first give us? Well, really, nothing. But there is one thing we can give Him, and one thing only. That is our will, which is the key to our heart. Saint, sinner, every living soul can give their will to God. It means to vow to Him all our choices shall be guided by our best understanding of His word. Have you talked to Him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at godsfiveminutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.